just as I was starting to tell you about the party of 6. And this quilt, I'll just move these out of the way, is pretty much finished. These are the border blocks, and that's what this lot is. Move them out of the way. So these are all the border blocks, and I have 2 more blocks to make. Let's rescue you from under there. 2 more of these blocks to make, and then the quilt is pretty ready to go together. I've got a few more borders to make. So these, when I started quilting again in 2021, I started this quilt along and didn't realize at the time that instead of starting doing the beginner's thing, I went straight into the hard stuff and made all these blocks. I think you made, there were 6 different blocks and you made 3 of each of them. And this is all ready to do the last 2 blocks and then put it together and put the border on. So it's so many. I did it scrappy. So I did have a bit of an excuse to start with because I ran out of fabric. I didn't really have a lot of fabrics in my stash. And so I started to run out of fabrics to make these blocks with. So yeah, that's my excuse. Meanwhile, we have gone on to lots of tops in between. So that is the party of 6. As I say, I've got 2 more blocks to finish. And I think, I don't know how many borders I've got to do. There's a reasonable amount of borders. We need to get on and get that one finished. I've already talked to you about Emily's one. These beautiful fabrics, I couldn't resist buying these the other day. They've just arrived this morning and they just absolutely delicious. I've no idea what I'm going to do with them, but I just like them, so I bought them and they can sit and be admired until I decide what I'm going to do with them. There's a reasonable amount of each one, but yeah, they're yummy, aren't they? And then this one is it's one that sometimes I just get a little bit fed up of doing something and I need a break to do something that's simple. So I'm kind of making this one up as I go along, and Deborah's decided to settle down again. And where did I put all the rest of those? So I did some sewing. Hang on, where have they all gone? That's what happens. I've got them already. I think Deborah might be responsible for this. I just have this sneaking suspicion that she's responsible for this. All right. So we've got all these messed up things on the floor. So this is what the block is going to look like, and I have the middles all made of this one. It's just going to be a small top. Oh, you can kind of make them bigger as you go along. Depends how you whether you put sashing in and things like that. So those are all the middles of that block, which the cat just knocked all over. So now they all want pressing. And then over here we've got these jelly rolls strips, which are going to form the outsides, and then I've got some black to make those points. And as we put the whole thing together, if you can imagine, you're going to have 4 black corners coming in to form a square in the middle, which will be on point, I think. So I'm debating what to do with the sashing on this one. We might just get it to this stage and then sit and ponder. All right, so that's that one. And then we've got this one down here, which is kind of interesting. This is another one that's on the go. And I was watching people do this and thinking, oh man, stringing all those squares together. But I thought, okay, I'm going to give that one a go. So these are all the blocks that I've done so far. Just pull that back a bit. And we're now in the process of, this has got borders. There's a few of those done, which the cat very kindly knocked on the floor. We've got some borders coming on the blocks. Some borders coming on, and then these half square triangles going in the corners. I've decided which way around I'm going to put that. So then the next one will go along there. Just move that over that way. The next one will go along there. Half square triangles, and then that one be. So hopefully you can get the idea of what that's going to look like. So we've got those to work on. We've got an idea what that's going to look like. So I'll pull that back a bit, and that's going to be how that all works together. So that's that one. So those are, how many did we have just then? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gosh, that's embarrassing. 5 tops in progress. Oh, we've got another one here. This one is one I started ages ago, and the fabric for that is all up here. Like I say, you've got to keep it all together, otherwise you might end up using the fabric on something else. So these are Quilt As You Go, and these ones, again, I've actually got better at doing this. Now this was like earlier on in 21, where I was still learning how to do some of these things, so I've got better at these now. If you look closely, you see that there's a little, oh, it's not too bad. So I look at that one, so that's kind of not meeting perfect, but why do we need to be perfect? So these are, I've got quite a few still to do on this. So did get a little bit tired with that, and that unfortunately is what happens. So if we have a look at these, you can see I've got this block to do, and this block to do, and then I've got all these borders to do, and then we start to put the quilt together. This one is Quilt As You Go, which I haven't done before, and that was part of the reason why I sort of stopped. No, I just stopped. I just got a little bored of it, a little tedious. So that's that one. I think we're up to 6 now, Quilts on the Go. That would be about the number. So that's why I can't do anything with that beautiful fabric until I finish something else, at least get them to. And there's a few up here. This one up here is also a top on the go, which I may or may not finish. Just going to be a small top. A lot of it is just practicing, and this one too was this is able to be made into a quilt, but it's just like, they're called UFOs, unfinished objects or work in progresses. So I decided I didn't particularly like this fabric. This is called batiks, and I decided I don't like batiks. I'm not going to sew with batiks, but we'll just leave that one there. And what have we got in progress here? What have we got in progress here? Oh yeah, that was a table runner, and I think I've got one done. One done. There it is. There's one done, and the rest are all cut out. So that is another UFO, unfinished object. And I'll pop that up there. So those are the projects on the go, and I'll show you some of the quilts that are sort of finished in the next video.